Hello and welcome to Paw Prints on the Mountain, brought to you by the Humane Society of the White Mountains. I'm your host, Mike Bosley. In a couple moments, we'll be joined by Deena and Terry, ladies. But first, before we do that, we're going to go into Mike's pet peeves. Now, Mike's Pet Peeves is merely my opinion. It is not the opinion of the board, the Humane Society. It's really just me hanging out with you. I had a long day yesterday, believe me. You know what? It doesn't like drive me crazy, but what I don't understand is people that buy used cop cars. Like, why do you have to buy a used cop car? You know that lamp on the side of your car is going to mess with all the other drivers and make them wonder what speed they're doing. How come it always appears that the guy driving the used cop car looks like he used to ride in the back of that very same cop car? Or, I mean, were they at a car auction and saw the back, wow, plastic, honey, the whole back seat and handcuffs? Those kids, we're going to end that no touching me game real quick, aren't we? What I hate more than that is actually animal cruelty. It is, I can't grasp my mind around it. There's so many outlets, there's so many ways to help the animals and maybe even the individual. There's so many forms of animal cruelty out there. And each of them, none better than the other, none worse than the other. They're all on the same field, and they're hurting lives. If you happen to notice anybody that's part of animal cruelty, call the authorities, call the Humane Society, talk to somebody, talk to the individual. Maybe they just need a little help. At the Humane Society of the White Mountains, we are glad to help in whatever way we possibly can. We want to take those animals and give them the better life that they deserve, that you want for those animals. Yeah. So, please, animal cruelty is in our community. It's more common than you think. So next time you see something, please speak up and talk to somebody. Sorry about that serious note, ladies, but okay. I mean, it's there.
It is.
Would you mind mentioning that?
And neglect is a form of abuse.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Absolutely. When you've got animals out with no kind of shelter, no fresh water every day in this heat, and then in the winter, I think probably all our minds went to the same area right now.
Yes.
And that's a neglect.
It's hot as HE double hockey stick out there.
It absolutely is. And I watch these, on Facebook and stuff, these ads that, shows a dog tied up in the backyard. If you're going to do this, don't get it. That may not be quite the words used, but that's the words we're going to use today. And I have to agree, they're not a lawn ornament, know, and look at little Arla here. Terry could tell Arla's story really well because one of our best friends adopted Arla when she was ready to go.
Yeah, I'm her aunt. She is my niece, I guess you would say. Arla was found by animal control in Pine Top at about 6 weeks of age, starved, tick-ridden, flea-ridden, with a broken hind leg. Now, how does a 6-week-old puppy break their leg? So Arla came in to us. Dr. Helzer, our amazing vet, actually put a rod in her leg to help her heal. She went into a medical foster home where she did heal, mentally, physically, and was adopted by her foster mom.
And that's another form, is mental abuse. Animals are really, they're so loving. They naturally are ready to unconditionally love.
Absolutely.
And that's what they mentally do. And when someone really breaks that through mental abuse, it traumatizes them forever. Well, at least for a long time until they find that right home.
And some are forever, Mike. That's what I tell people. We believe that there's 4 parts of every animal, and that is the body, the mind, the heart, and the soul. When they're physically abused, we can see that, we can fix that. When their soul and their spirit is so abused that we can't know right away what they need,
Right.
you know, and so it takes us sometimes a really long time.
Absolutely.
Really long time, you know, for them to be able to know that there are good people
Right.
that are not going to hurt them, you know, and it's heartbreaking. You know, this is one of the things I always say. Those ASPCA commercials are so sad, and and people tell me all the time, I have to turn it away, I cry, and I said, what people don't want to realize is in our community, we can make those commercials.
Right.
But we won't.
Right.
We won't, for several reasons, and the number one reason is because the money that we have, we're spending healing those animals instead of, you know,
Making
doing
a
that.
big
Yes, making,
production.
you know, yes. And so, but we could make those commercials here. There's some really sad things, and you know, education, like you had mentioned, is a really good thing, because a lot of times, you know, kids are raised with, you know, you leave the dog in the backyard, you throw them out some food every now and then, and you know, if you see their water's empty, you know, forever how long it might have been, go out and give them some water. You know, education is what our community needs to know proper animal care.
Right.
You know, we want to believe that every animal we adopt is going into the perfect home, you know, and sometimes that doesn't happen, but more often than not it does. And by educating children and letting them know the proper animal care, then that cycle of, you know, they're nothing. They're just out in the yard, a guard dog or, you know, whatever.
Right.
So that we could say we have a dog, you know, or
Right,
a cat that's
right.
wandering the neighborhood, you know. And
uh-huh.
and I get cats are a little, you know, they like to wander, but you need to just be careful. There's a lot of things out here that harm our animals.
Absolutely.
Well, you did touch on it, so we're going to go ahead and kind of touch on it. Now, there's that one place that makes some very sad commercials, and somebody may think in their head, well, maybe the return will be more. You know, maybe they're spending so much and they're getting so much back. So that's maybe a form of a fundraiser for them, but we do better stuff with our money. And sadly, one of our largest fundraisers of the year is going to have to be canceled. Now, this doesn't, I mean, yeah, it dampens our party, but there's still ways to have fun. There's still ways to participate. There's still ways to be
The
a savior.
community can help
Yes, ma'am.
support these animals.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that, Terry.
So, what you were talking about was Happy Tales.
Yes, ma'am.
Happy Tales 2020, that was going to be held August 29th at the Orchard at Charlie Clark's. Obviously, with the current set of circumstances and thinking about the health of our community, our sponsors, our volunteers, and everyone that supports us, we had to cancel the event.
Yes.
Which was absolutely a heartbreaking thing for us to do, because stop and think about this. Last year, we had, I think, 8 or 10 adoptions, but in 5 hours' time, we netted $132,000.
Right.
It's now gone.
Right. Of course. Yeah, that's
It gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. So we're doing our best, and we're gonna have some amazing raffles.
yes.
Not only raffles, but we're looking for money. People can just bring a check, call us. We can take a credit card to help support these animals the best we can.
I was all geared up and stoked. I was going to do the auctioneering. It was going to be a lot of fun. But yes, so now we've got, and for sitting from a board member's perspective, you watch a $132 chunk, $132,000 chunk come flying out of the budget, which was, believe me, pinched as it was.
Right.
You know, it takes, but I'm very positive that this community, just like it always has, is going to stand by us. And so I'm actually, it's sad that Happy Tales isn't going to happen, but I'm very optimistic about the outcome we will still have from this year and everything that the community is going to do for us. I'm very optimistic.
Let me
about
tell
that.
you about the first three actually raffled items that should be available, and we are going to advertise them everywhere.
Okay.
We have, it's a tool extravaganza. We're talking about $3,000.
I'm going to have to back you up and make you say that again.
Extravaganza.
That's what I wanted to hear. Continue.
Just
My
wait.
apologies.
Mechanics tool, what do you call the metal tool boxes?
There's the roll one, you know, that's
rolling
the tall,
toolbox?
and then there is also, it is a machinist toolbox with it.
Okay.
And we are talking Bosch tools, Makita tools, DeWalt tools, all very gently used, but just an amazing group of tools. We have a pampered chef kitchen. Gosh,
Yeah.
it's amazing. We have a garden basket that just was donated, not only some decorative items, but I think there's 3 roses, there's a spruce tree, there's a dwarf Alberta spruce tree. There's like, it's an instant enchanted garden.
I am actually jealous. I did not get into the tree business when I was younger. I have priced trees out
my
recently,
gosh.
and they are expensive.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I mean, that sounds like a heck of a winning basket.
It is.
All
It is.
right.
So we are, Debbie and Terry and Mary and Gloria, some volunteers. They've been working really hard on this. Debbie and I have been working on the PayPal and the other end of it, the website. Debbie does amazing with that. And so we've had to call in every now and then my sister Dawn, who's out in North Carolina, to help us with some of this stuff. Thank goodness she's available to us. But anyway, we're hoping to launch this by the weekend or the beginning of next week. And so we've decided to make this really fun and draw the winners of these raffles on August 29th, our Happy Tales Day, and we'll do it on a live happy Facebook feed.
Okay.
So we think that that'll be good because then we'll still be doing something with our community then.
Yeah.
I think that sounds great. I mean, that's a great start to
It is a great start, but it cannot end there.
No, it's got a lot more to go. And we've actually got a little bit more to go, but first we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment with more Paw Prints on the Mountain, brought to you by the Humane Society. Welcome back to Paw Prints on the Mountain. I'm your host, Mike Bosley. Joining us now is Deena Pace, the Executive Director, and then we've got Terry Bankert, and you are the co-chair of Happy Tales.
Yes, I am.
So we just heard a little bit about Happy Tales and some of the fun that is going to transpire now that the main event has been canceled,
Right.
postponed, on hiatus.
Well, it is postponed till August 28th of 2020.
See, it is not canceled. That is so negative. It is
Postponed for a year.
That's
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Yes.
Extravaganza. Say
Yeah,
that one more
and we
time.
actually did look at the date. It will be August 28th of 2021.
Okay.
So by then, hopefully, we're in a much better state of health.
Yes. Yes.
Is that a word?
Yes.
It
that
is.
It's actually a couple
Yeah.
words.
Definitely.
Okay.
State of health. Yeah.
Now, just because, all right, so the Happy Tales is, like you said, one of our larger fundraisers of the year. In fact, it
is
the
largest.
largest fundraiser of the year. But we have another fundraiser that happens every single day. And actually, I've noticed more and more cars outside of the thrift shop, outside of the doghouse.
Yes.
So what's going on in there? There's a new buzz going on. Can you tell us a little bit about what's new?
Well, there's some different new things, of course, merchandise and everything all the time. But we actually have a new cashier. Shirley, anyone that knows Shirley that was with us a year or so ago had to quit for a while, and she is back again.
Lovely.
She is a love. I mean, Shirley is just fun. So her and the guys are over there doing a great job. We did not go to 6 days a week this summer. We just didn't have the the help to be able to do that.
Well, the budget is crunched.
The budget is crunched. So we are open over there Tuesdays through Saturday from 10 to 5. And they're now accepting donations those days till 4 o'clock. That way they have a chance to process them through.
Right.
And so yeah, you know, and I tell people when you go over there, and they'll tell you too, if you're looking for something specific and they don't have it, ask them. They maybe have gotten it in and they haven't got it out to the front yet or something.
Right.
So
and it's a very large area. There's all kinds of nooks and crannies throughout the whole little place.
oh my goodness, yes. You know, who was it that was in there the other day? Oh, Laura, my assistant. And she said she never did see somebody. She said, I seen their car, but I never did see them. She goes, you know, you get in there and you go somewhere and someone else is somewhere else. And, you know, so yeah, I mean, we've got the main building that you go into, then you go outside and there's all that stuff outside and under the bay, and then up in the barn there's shopping. So we go from everything from books and movies to furniture.
Yeah, and that canoe, someone donated that big old canoe. I wonder if that got purchased, if
You know
it's
what?
still there.
I don't know. I'm going to find out because I'll be over there this week.
Yeah.
So.
And ski season is coming up here in a little bit. That's
Hopefully.
going to be my favorite way to social distance. Get on a snowboard and get at it. I mean, so there's all kinds of ski stuff there.
Yeah. Well, and camping stuff right now. Look at how many people are coming up camping.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Absolutely.
They have a lot of that and outdoor stuff and activities for, you know, games outside and all that kind of stuff. So you definitely want to stop in there. And like I say, you know, it's because of the community donating these gently used donations that we're able to keep that place going, because everything there's donated. And so all that money comes back to the shelter every day. That is our everyday fundraiser.
And I know the numbers, but running the shelter and keeping all these dogs safe, medicals, and we'll talk about medical fosters in a moment, that costs money. All of this costs every day. And that bill, I assume, isn't getting smaller?
No, you know, that's funny. It's not getting smaller. It's just under $2,000 a day to keep our organization going.
Wow.
And so that's why, you know, there's several ways people can help us. But, you know, the fundraising, not only is Happy Tales canceled, anything we had planned going forward, Strut Your Mutt, the physical part of that has been canceled. That takes place in October in Phoenix. Well, normally. So going forward, you know, we just hope that people will remember us and not so much us, but what we stand for. And that is these homeless, abused, neglected animals, because they have no idea the hardship that we could be coming upon.
Right.
You know? But what I do know is, like you said, Mike, our community is always behind us.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's where we have to reach out to our community again and say, please, if you can do anything. And you know, somebody may say $5 isn't anything. Every $5 adds up.
Yes.
Every bit helps.
Yes.
You know, one from Arizona Gives that happens in April. One of the donations that meant the most to me when I seen it come in was somebody gave $5, because that could have been their milk or their bread or their whatever money. That's what they could do, and that touched me as much as maybe $100 donation.
Right.
Knowing that they cared enough about what we're doing to make that.
Still make that donation.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, she is an alumni, like we said earlier.
Okay. Now, tell us about medical fostering. That is one of, now, how does that cost, I mean, sure, the medical cost, but how does that cost the Humane Society to be a medical foster?
Well, you know, first of all, I want to make sure everyone knows that when you bring a foster animal into your home, be it a cat or a dog, the Humane Society pays all the expenses. We don't want our volunteers to have any money out of pocket.
So there's the cost that's involved.
Exactly. What you need to do is keep them safe, teach them that people are good, and keep communicating with us. The hardest part about fostering is letting them go.
I can imagine.
And and I've been fostering. I've been a volunteer for, I don't know, about 10 years, and I fostered some pups and things, and you cry every time. But the blessing is, I still keep in touch with these pups that I fostered 10 years ago, and I get to be Arla's aunt.
Right.
So, you know, as I briefly said, when she came in, I mean, she was a wreck. The
She
poor
was in
thing.
bad shape.
She was in really, really bad shape. We didn't know if she'd make it. And it took a couple of days of her just being with us to make sure she was strong enough to go under anesthetic and have that surgery. You know, she lives with the rod in for the rest of her life, but this little girl, she is an athlete, and she has 2 foster
Actually, they were foster failures
They
too.
were foster failures too. It's not a failure. It's not a failure. The 2 other dogs that live with Arla were both also medical fosters. That she has a pretty super mom. So
yeah.
But we do need to let everyone know that not all of us.
I was about to say that you
end up
need to
keeping
make a
them. You know,
disclaimer
you can't.
because
Yeah,
you're not making a good case for
I'm
a foster.
sorry.
Well, you know, let's take Lori, our board president,
Oh,
for example.
absolutely. Perfect.
She had fostered a dog that we called Rosie at the shelter, and Rosie came in to us, and this is another form of the abuse, the neglect, all that we go back to. But she came in, found out in the woods, starved down to nothing, and she had a broken leg and a broken pelvis.
Oh.
And so Doc did the surgery on the knee first, and figured while she was down she would be able to let the pelvic heal. And so there again, once that didn't work, the leg did not heal the way it should, and so she ended up with an amputation. So Lori, who is our board president and also a certified vet tech, took Rosie home after that surgery because it was an amputation, it was a spay, and it was another removal of something else, all at once. And so she had her for weeks, and Lori needed a weekend away from her. And she said, "Do you know anyone that would foster?" So I talked to Roy, my husband, and he goes, "Oh, sure, she can come for the weekend. I'll be home," because I was doing something for the shelter. Well, she picked my husband, other than that she didn't like the name Rosie, and she ended up with Lucy. So, you know, but the point of the matter was, Lori was the first foster and passed her forward.
Okay, there you go.
So not all of them. But you know, and I fostered so many puppies, Roy and I have over the years, you know, and it is, like Terry says. But you know what? They're tears of, I may never see it again, but it's also tears of happiness that we saved this life and it's moving on to a forever home. So, you know, and there's different ways to volunteer. You know, we're putting together some more different things that our volunteers can do at a safe distance, like Terry says.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how long this is going to go on. But what we do know is that we are going on. You know, our shelter is going on. We have no choice. Failure's not an option for these animals.
No.
So that's where we're going to be creative. We're going to listen and brainstorm and come up with more ideas and more ideas to be able to be successful for these animals, even during this hard time that this country is going through.
I look forward to some of the ideas we come up with to get over this hump. I am really excited. You know, Happy Tales is an amazing event, but I'm really excited to see how we come out, just using our creativity and finding a way to the other side, just like we always do.
Absolutely.
We do, because we have to.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
You know, and with the volunteers like Terry, and there's so many great volunteers, and the board of directors, you know, we will get through this. You know, and our community support that we always have. You know, Happy Tales was a shame, but you know, too, Mike, Terry and I had talked, and you know, you as a board member had talked, that how could we go out in our community and ask them for donations when so many of our small businesses here have suffered through this?
Right.
You know, we're not the only person in this boat. You know,
No, we're not.
you
I
know,
hate to be the cliche and say we're all in this together, but we sadly really
are
in
all
that scenario,
suffering in some form, you know, whether it's supplying for our families or for all these homeless animals.
Absolutely.
Now, Terry, you did have a way to kind of help with a way to help with the Humane Society and social distance at the same time, and it involved a little bit of exercise.
So what more can you do? Come walk some dogs. Our dogs, we have amazing employees, and all of our dogs get out of their kennel and go for a minimum of 2 walks a day. But wouldn't it be fun for these same dogs? We're right across the street from the Ice Cave Trail, from Scott's Reservoir, from Billy Creek, and those volunteers that have gone through training and have been with us. I love to take a dog for a hike. Sometimes a dog that needs socialization, I take them for a ride in my car. So it's me and the dog. That's great social distancing.
That is great social distancing. Come volunteer. Also, check out the Humane Society's website and see what kind of animals might become part of your forever home. Until we do this next time, ladies, and we will be even closer, how do we find raffle tickets real quick?
So you will be watching on our website, hswm.org, and there will be a banner across the top that says Happy Tales 2020. You're going to click on it, and it's going to take you to where you can get raffle tickets, or you can come out to the shelter and buy them starting as soon as and we'll also put it on Facebook that they're available now.
So there you go. Lots of ways to still help out these animals and give them the love that they so deserve.
And you can't take her home, Mike.
Oh, man, she's right there. That's going to do it for us this time. Thanks. See ya.